I am Keith Colking and worship at All Saints Church, Chilwell. And last year during COVID, from April till about June, I was suffering from a very bad depression. I think it was a lockdown and all the issues to do with that, because I live on my own, how that would affect me. And suddenly I was in this bad depression and I was in a very dark place and I couldn't see how I was going to get out of this depression. I had a very good friend, Louise, and a fiancé, Dave, who were teachers of colleagues of mine who I knew very well for over 10 years. And Louise came and helped me every day for about 3 or 4 weeks. She was like my practical angel. It's just wonderful. And I was on medication and also getting visits from the mental health nurses from Mossley Hill Hospital every other day. And they were just keeping an eye on me. I was thought I'd never come out of it, with dark thoughts, horrible thoughts, couldn't release myself from them, felt suicidal thoughts sometimes. And then suddenly, I know that I had lots of visits and phone calls from people at church. Many were people who were praying for me for healing. And I know that was going on in a sort of regular basis at All Saints. And then about mid-June, one morning, I suddenly felt better. And then at lunchtime, I felt even much better and went out, and I felt as though the whole depression had just lifted from me. Just amazing how quickly it just went. And Louise called for me in the late afternoon because taking me to a meal at their house in Stonycroft. And I remember going and she said, Keith, there's something different. What's happened? I said, I feel better, Louise. It's just wonderful. I said, don't tell Dave when we go in and see what he says. And when we went in, after a minute or so, Dave said, what's happened, Keith? You're normal. You seem fantastic, talking and not sort of being quiet and sort of reserved. And I said, I feel better, Dave. I said, the whole depression has just lifted. And it was just wonderful, the answer to prayer, plus also the medication and the practical help of Louise and Dave and the mental health nurses. But then again, I was fine the next few days. It kept on going better. And I felt from the scriptures I was reading that it was just like when Jesus healed a demon-possessed man and all the people around him said they couldn't believe it because they saw this man in his right mind. And I just felt like that. I said, Lord, thank you so much for healing me. I felt in my right mind. And it was just a wonderful experience of joy and peace. And the whole thing had lifted from me. I was so happy. And then since then, I've been great ever since. And I know the mental health nurses, Jonathan, the main one, was assigned to me, said to me, I just want to make sure it's not a blip, Keith. So he came in a week later and it wasn't a blip. And then he confessed me. He's been mental health nursing for about 30 years. And he said in all his time as a mental health nurse, he has never seen such a rapid recovery as I had. And he could experience it because he had seen me in a very, very bad place and said I would come out of it. And I said, I won't. And when you're in that bad place, you don't know what you're saying and everything. But it was a great answer to prayer. And prayer is powerful and it can help the practical things of medication and help from people. So really, prayer is so important. And I thank God so much and pray again that he will keep me healed and so I can do his work. Amen.